Hello, Michela Wariebi.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me on the first episode of Guts and Glam.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here, and I feel so honored. Like, y'all, I'm literally about to write this in my journal so it can be in the archive.
I'm so excited to have you here. People love to hear from you, to hear you speak. So first, just tell me about like you. Where are you from? Like, where were you born and raised? Where are you from?
Oh, my background is kind of interesting. I was born in Liberia in West Africa. I'm also half Nigerian. I came to the United States when I was 6 as a war refugee. Actually, a lot of people do not know that. Yeah. And so I initially, the first place I ever lived in the United States was Philly. Okay. West Philly to be exact. Like literally down the street from the school where the Fresh Prince was like filming the entry thing, Overbrook.
Wow.
So I still rap and claim Philly because that's the first place I ever lived in the States. And then I moved to Northern Virginia, like Reston, and then primarily grew up in Maryland, the DMV. I'm from Maryland.
Okay.
Like very much Crab, Mo County, PG County.
Right.
So that's what I identify most with. I would say is that if someone asked me where I was from in the States, I would say Maryland. If they like asked me, you know, my nationality and whatnot, it's definitely Liberian, which I still very deeply identify with. If you follow me on any platform, you know that much.
Yes.
And then moved to New York almost 15 years ago now, which sounds absolutely crazy because it feels, I moved here when I was 10.
Now you moved here for work?
I moved here for work.
Okay.
My background is actually in tech. A lot of people do not know that I went to undergrad. I have 2 bachelor's degrees. One in information systems and one in international business. And I was working in those spaces and I was like, ooh, this sucks. I do not want to work in a gray cube for 40 years.
Right.
And I think a lot of people recognized that I was a creative before I was able to admit it to myself. Because I would tell people what I was doing and they'd be like, oh, you definitely have the capacity to do that, because I was a STEM kid. But they were like, are you sure that's what you want to do? I used to have people ask me that question all the time. And I'd be like, yeah, of course.
Now, were you seeing that in yourself as a kid?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or more as an adult?
I could draw. I was always creating something.
Okay.
Natural entrepreneur. Like, you know, kids learn how to make GIMP, like lanyard.
Yeah.
Girl, I read everything I could on lanyards and was making like treble clef signs and most advanced things and was like selling them to people in church to like make $50, $60 every Sunday. Yeah, I definitely, like, my sister would have homework where she had to draw, like, stuff for science, and I would draw all the stuff for her.
Wow.
So always had a creative bone. Like, even the way I dressed, I remember, like, a specific situation hanging out with my sister and her friends, and, like, one of them worked in tech, and I was, like, talking about being in information systems, and I remember I always dressed very eccentrically, and I had a purse that was a rice sack, and he was like, girl, why do you have a rice sack as a purse? But I always just had like very quirky little things about me like that. And I was like, I just think it's very cool that it's like a basmati rice bag, but like it's a purse. And he was like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, you're not an artist? And I was like, no, of course not. But I'm a war refugee. Like, I don't even know I am the immigrant, not even first gen immigrant. Like, I came here. I remember coming to the United States, like, very clearly. And so it was like doctor, lawyer, engineer. You couldn't choose to be in the arts. I remember even asking my mom if I could go to the Peace Corps, like, just to do some volunteer work.
Me too. Wait, is that an immigrant thing?
I don't know. I wanted to go help.
Me too.
My mom was like, are you crazy? You're going to work. Like, I even remember wanting to go to cosmetology school and then go to college. And my mom was like, cosmetology school? Are you insane? You know, my mom had her master's by the time she was 23. So she's
like, how are you going to survive?
And she is a professor. So she just was like, I don't know what you're talking about and who has influenced you. Yeah. But you're going to college.
Right.
And so that's where I went. But
were you like kind of upset that you weren't able to at that time realize more creative, but was that not even in your realm to think about?
I don't think I could even allow myself to be upset. Like, it just was matter of fact of like what you have to do, because when you not me getting emotional, when you are an immigrant and you are like surviving. When you're surviving, you don't have space to imagine as much. Like, so I couldn't imagine being an artist. I couldn't imagine saying, oh, I want to go into music or beauty. You don't have the opportunity to even consider those things, you know? So, no.
Have you seen like there's like an Instagram reel with like I think it's like a Haitian mom or auntie, and then the daughter comes and she's like, I'm depressed. She's like, must be nice to have this.
Yes, exactly. Like, there was no, you're about to do any of that. Like, I couldn't even really dream in that way. It wasn't an option. It wasn't an opportunity. So I just, no, I wasn't. It was like, oh, I want to do this thing. My mom said no. And that was just
just that,
like, I'm just going down another path. And I think when you get older, like now in this clarity and this awareness, you do mourn and grieve like the opportunity to have delved into leaning fully into being an artist or a creative earlier.
To realize it earlier.
To realize it earlier, to explore more earlier, like, but that's just what life is, you know. Everybody's gonna have some pangs of regret and reflection in that way. So,
but with that said, do you feel like the things that you had done prior to becoming a creative attribute to who you are today?
Yes, 100%. I wouldn't change the path, even though I still grieve like those potential possibilities that were lost. I still am grateful for the paths I took because they helped me to become who I am now. Yeah. And I do really like myself. I think my business background really puts me in a different position as a makeup artist and creative because I have a different understanding and perspective on industry, how things work. Yeah, so it really helped to form me in a different way.
How old were you when you got into the industry?
Oh my God.
I feel like people sometimes feel like they're jumping in it too late. They had a few careers before then, and they're like, "Is it too late to get into this?" What are your thoughts?
I believe you have time to do something until you leave this earthly plane. Right. I moved to New York when I was 28.
Okay.
So, you know, people think life is over at 30.
Right.
I didn't. It's so crazy because I hadn't even considered that.
Right.
Like, I had not even considered that. I was so... Once I got into corporate America in, like, the tech and whatnot space, I was like, I will literally die. I remember I was starting to get physically ill. Like when I was like, I would have physical manifestations of feeling ill when I was driving to my job. Like I remember the turn in the Beltway on 270 when I was getting to Rockville where I would be like, my stomach would start hurting. I just hated it so
Now, were you dabbling in makeup?
I was dabbling in it, but I sucked. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen.
So wait, you sucked first?
Oh, girl, I sucked deeply. Like, I didn't, because nobody had explained how to do makeup to me. And the way I came from a systems background, like, I'm a theory person. So I was just mimicking what I saw people doing, but they hadn't explained the theory and the principles of makeup to me. So it wasn't until I encountered people, Danessa being the first one, who taught makeup from a theoretical standpoint that I started being good because I was just doing stuff.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing.
I think a lot of people are driven by their own skill or talent. And some people get discouraged when they try out the thing that they feel passionate about and they're not as good at it in the beginning.
Yeah,
but it sounded like...
But no, at that time I didn't think I sucked though.
Okay, so
I didn't think I sucked. It's very interesting because I consider myself confident now, but I had a different type of confidence when I was younger. Like, Naima, at 28, I could have decided I was going to be an astronaut, and you could not have told me that I could not become an astronaut.
Right.
Like, I just really thought anything was possible. I tapped into some type of freedom there that I was just like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care about these immigrant expectations. I'm going for life to the jugular. Like, I do not care because I'm escaping this death trap of depression that you people are trying to put me in. So I was just desperate. I did not care. I didn't even have a plan coming to New York. I had $20. Like,
I love it.
I was just like, I'm out of here. I don't know.
Okay, so tell me about the plan coming to New York. What did you have in mind?
Girl, when I tell people there was no plan, first of all, don't do what I do. Like, do not do what I did. It was awful.
Like, don't try this at home.
Because I had basically decided I was going to abandon this career. I had found out about Danessa Myrick's, connected with her in DC, was using all my little bit of PCO to like follow her to, from, and fro where she was going, and she had gotten hired at Benefit Cosmetics to like be their director of product innovation, but they were going to allow her to still run her business. It wasn't even called Danessa Myrick's Beauty at that time.
Right.
Child, the makeup lore is deep. And she was like, if you want to come here to New York and run my business, you can live in my house because I'm moving to LA. And I was like, yes.
Wow.
And I literally, like, with this, so crazy. Like, I'm insane. And I literally just packed my life up, and me and my boyfriend at the time, who had just gotten a job at some like music industry company, I can't even remember, like a big job too. Like, I packed my stuff up in the car. I wouldn't even let him drive the U-Haul. I was like, no, like, this is my thing.
Right.
Like, they hatched my car on the back of the thing. I literally used like my last $500 to like pay for everything, and had like two little red cents in my bank account, no real savings, and moved to New York.
I love that.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that I wasn't moving to New York City. I was moving to Long Island. It was insane.
There's a lot of people that are thinking about that move right now and contemplating if it's the right thing to do when you work in this space. Do you feel like you need to live in New York, LA to reach the level of success that you've reached?
I think it depends on what you're doing and what your expectations are. Some of the work you just have to physically be here. Like, that's just it. Some of it happens very last minute, especially if you're in the like building stage of it. You would have to do something so magnificent in like middle of the road Idaho for people to want to fly you out to be doing stuff otherwise. And you're going to eventually have to move anyway.
Right.
It's much easier to be somewhere established and then move away, and you already have that reputation and confidence, than to try to do it otherwise. But like, if you want to come and assist, I have, in consideration of the fact that I was a person from Maryland that was driving up here to work before I moved here, I've tried to give opportunities to assistants that are not in the New York tri-state area, and it's too stressful because you never know what's going to happen with transportation, whatnot. I've had people cancel on me last minute because all of a sudden there's a snowstorm, and when you live in New York, baby, there's a snowstorm. The shoot's still happening, the project's still happening. Absolutely. You just have to navigate the snow and figure it out. There's just a different expectation of how things work here, so it really just depends on what you want. If you want to just do some commercial work, you might be able to stay wherever you are because there's a commercial hub there. Yeah. But if you want to do fashion, celebrity, and whatnot, you have to go where the fashion and the celebrities are.
Period.
That's it.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are trying to balance it out, especially the early parts of their career where they're like, am I ready to like fully commit to this? What if I move to New York and nothing happens? But I think that middle road where you're staying home in whatever town you're in and trying to travel to New York for assisting jobs here and there, it's going to take you way longer to get to where you want to go.
It is. And people have to recognize there's some level of sacrifice that has to happen for you to do this. Like, that's just what it is.
That's just what it is, yeah.
There is a level of sacrifice. You can absolutely be where you are, especially with social media now, and you're putting all your work out there, and people see you, and now they're flying you out. But eventually it's going to be like, why do I have to constantly be flying you from whoever, and I have someone that's here in New York that maybe is equally as good as you are? Like...
Right. And there's that, when we do jobs, even at our level, they'll say the client wants you to be local.
Yep.
Right? And so you can like explain to listeners who are just making it into the industry, like, what does that mean?
When they say they want you to work local, they don't want to pay for your transportation and they don't want to pay for your lodging, girl. That's basically what it boils down to. They want you to operate as a local person, a person that already had a home and transportation there.
Right.
That's it.
So that's what that means. And it's common.
Yeah, very common.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it more and more now as the industry changes and budgets are decreasing and there are literally just more of us
Right.
everywhere.
When you see, I often see in like people's like Instagram profiles, they'll say like willing to travel. It's like, yeah, I'm sure you are, but are they willing to pay?
Exactly.
That's a different story.
Yes.
If someone were to ask you to describe you, like who you are outside of makeup and outside of who we know you to be from your Instagram and your socials, is it very different? Is it the same? Like, how would you describe Michela off of social?
It's so funny because it's the same and probably worse because I have to really censor myself for social media. To be quite honest, you have to be brand friendly to some extent, and that's just the thing. Anybody that follows me knows I have a lot to say. I have even more to say off of social media. But who I am, it's like anybody that knows me knows I am really fully authentic all the time. I am constantly joking, but very serious. I am truly always like reading, learning, and nerding out about some random topics. So me even sharing the things I do is really who I am. I am always talking about food. Like it's who I am. I'm a perpetual student. I love to learn. I love to experience different things, travel. I'm extremely curious, a little bit mischievous.
How do you balance, or how do you figure out how to share online? Because I feel like I come into contact with a lot of like up and coming artists who are like, I'll just post the work and not post me, because they do feel like they have a lot to say, and some of it may be controversial, and maybe they party a lot and they don't want clients looking at that and thinking that they're not professional, etc. What should you be thinking about as someone who's up and coming when you think about what to post and what not to post while still maintaining your self-identity?
I think you have to, one, keep in mind that we're all human, and everybody knows that we're all human. I think you have to find a balance between showing that you have a life, that you exist, that you're a person with layers, but keeping it brand friendly is really what keep in mind. Like, would anybody want you to be a representative of their brand or with their association or be associated with you at all? Like, yeah, you can show that you go out and have a drink and have a good time, but I wouldn't post the twerking video.
Right.
Like, you want to find that fine line of like propriety and impropriety. And I think that's very different for everybody too, depending upon who you're putting yourself out there to be and what spaces you want to work in. For example, if you maybe want to be like all about being like a club kid and working with drag, or like things that are very much about like nightlife and whatnot, show that that's the part of the lifestyle that you're a part of.
Right.
So I think it's all about context and consideration. For me, I have to find a good balance of that, because initially I used to not show anything about my personality, myself at all. I thought I really had to just show the work. But it's also about how social media platforms change, obviously. But I would like share little snippets about myself like in my stories, and people would be like, oh, you have a sense of humor. I thought you were so serious. And I'm like, what? Like, what do people, or I remember it was even a client ended up meeting me, and she was like, I was worried about working with you because I thought you'd be too serious, and I am like such a funny person. She was like, and I absolutely like love you, like, and I've been working with that person for years and we're good friends now. And she was like, I would have never known that from your social. So once she shared that with me, I started just sharing more about who I am. And then I also just got tired, to be quite honest. It's like, I know I have to curate things to some extent, but I want to share more about who I am. People, be like, don't share your food. Well, I eat and I love, and I love food. It is a large part of who I am, my identity. It's another area of interest. So they're just gonna have to navigate that. No, I'm not gonna necessarily put it all over my timeline at this time, at least, is what I think.
Right.
But these rules are all made up. You want to tell me
Absolutely.
that you can't look at a sandwich and look at a smoky eye and tell that I could do the smoky eye and still eat the sandwich? Like, I think we have to be reasonable about what makes sense.
I also think that brand friendly has changed throughout the years.
100%.
I think there are a lot of things that attribute to that. I think like brands like Fenty, Rihanna being at the head of that brand, Beyonce being at the head of her brand, where we have more like personalities, you know, that show their life and the things that they're doing outside of like, here's the product and this is what it does, which has allowed us to also kind of live a life and be the quote unquote professional.
Exactly. And I think they want to see that, to be quite honest. And I think that it's a shifting of who the primary customers and demographics are. Because look at a brand like Topicals. When did you ever think we was going to see beauty campaigns with people with grills?
Right.
And do-rags, long nails, like mohawks, that it wasn't an alternative brand.
Right.
You know, the types of things we're seeing now, they recognize like the old guard is literally aging out to some extent. And yes, conservatism still absolutely exists. Right. But there's a lot of people who have money and buying power who need to be appealed to, because marketing is just about appealing, and especially in the beauty space, it's about aspiration. I'm not necessarily aspiring to look buttoned down and conservative. I'm aspiring to be expressive and artistic and counterculture. So all of these things are relevant. It's like what we're talking about with how there's so much more than a runway model. Like, we need aspiration in so many different places. So yeah, I think what brand friendly means is very, very diverse. And I think it's giving people more permission to show how multifaceted they are, but just with a little bit of a filter on it.
Right. So if you're up and coming right now and you're wondering if you should be sharing, what you should be sharing, I think the conversation that we're having here today allows you to know that you can absolutely share a little bit more of you as a human and who you are, what your personality is like, because it's not just about the work.
Yes.
When it comes to the brands, when it comes to them hiring you, oftentimes they come to your page and want to see what you're like.
Exactly, because we are shifting from a place of performance to authenticity. Like, we are so inundated with ads and that people do want authenticity. Like, I need to see that you're real, especially in the age of AI. Like, baby, I need to see the humanity.
Right. I love that. So you're not just an artist, you are also a career educator. Tell me about your career in education. Well, tell me that first, because I want to hear about the guide that you created for makeup artists. But first, tell me about your career in education.
So it's very funny because my career in education started way before makeup. I have been like a tutor and educator since I was in like my science background and tech background. Okay. I actually used to be a mathematics tutor for like the classroom. So not like one-on-one. I would go into classrooms with like basically like a teacher assistant to teach everything from arithmetic to calculus.
You're such an artist. We have such a random life.
I know, very random. So like it really began there. I've been instructing people for a very long time. And of course my mom's a professor. And when I got into makeup, you know, having started working with Janessa, the first place I ever assisted her was in a classroom. Okay. And I'm very good at being a parrot. Especially if I understand what you're saying. And like I explained, she's a very theoretical teacher. So I was able to listen to what she said. And even though I may not have been able to physically execute, I understood the concept. So I could regurgitate and explain it to people, and I could identify if they were not doing the concept. It's really just pattern recognition. And so I was able to assist her really well in the class, having never actually put lashes on anybody successfully. And she was like, you know, you're a really good educator. And I was like, thank you. And in my head, I was like, girl, I do not know what I don't know what I'm doing up in here. But it kind of just grew from there. And I would step in and educate in spaces working with her, and then developing my own instructional courses from there. Actually, even before developing my instructional courses, I started teaching for Makeup Forever.
Okay. Tell me about that.
I just came in as a freelancer. Initially, I used to come in and teach like their week-long courses that they had at the Academy in Soho prior to it closing. And I did so well that they offered me a full-time position as an educator. And it was really perfect because I had just come off like a crazy health crisis and I couldn't actively work as a freelancer at that time. So I was teaching as one of the lead educators at the Makeup Forever Academy in Soho, and would also teach at the Pro Studio, which is closing this week, which is crazy. So that started there. And then from there, I built Skin the Masterclass, teaching artists how to work with the global skin range using color theory and skin theory. And it just kind of blossomed from there.
Yeah.
And I first started, I've always been a history buff and was teaching history of makeup at University of Maryland, at Makeup Forever Academy. And started really delving into like the theory of beauty more than just like the factual, like what was the reason we were wearing blush this way or skin this way and whatnot. And that just kind of grew from there.
So diversifying like your artistry with education, was that like a financial decision? Like, did you find that you made more money in education? Because people are often thinking about, okay, I don't want to, do makeup all the time. I don't want to be, hands on makeup all the time. I want to do other things, and maybe thinking about education. What are your thoughts on that? Is it something that you should, because not everybody is an educator. As a career educator myself, I think that's important for people to recognize that even if the bag is good, the money is good in education, you have to know that it's not for everyone. And I'm sure everyone has sat in a class with someone who was not an educator, right? And you feel like this is either boring or this doesn't resonate or I don't quite understand what they're saying. And you don't want to be the one that's delivering that. So I always try to tell people, if you're going to enter education, do it for passion and do it because you're actually good at it.
Yeah.
Right?
So the first thing I'll say, I think that at this time, especially, any artist needs to be thinking about how they can diversify. What you diversify into, I think, is really dependent upon what your respective strengths are. Like you said, everybody is not an educator. So baby, if you ain't got it, just go ahead and leave it for somebody else. Right. Maybe it's product development for you or whatever else. For me, I do have a gift for educating. I'm able to translate complex theories and terms into things that are easily digestible to other people. And so education, it really just was inherent in part of what I was doing because of who I started working with. And she was an educator. And so I was constantly in education spaces, whether it was at these trade shows, Bronner Brothers, the makeup show, IBS. It was like we were constantly doing classes, educating. Right. And I would step in those spaces too. So it was almost just kind of a natural progression.
Like organic.
Organic. Right. Now, when I went to Makeup Forever, it was just like, oh, this is a great way for me to earn this, like, Makeup Forever was paying.
Right.
There was a way for me to earn this like really great money. Yeah. I pop in, I do a week and I'm getting, some bands, and it was also really fun because I was meeting students literally from all over the world. LVMH being an international brand, I was literally having people from like Portugal, Spain, Brazil, Africa, India, Australia. It was insane. So you were connecting with all these artists. And when you teach, iron sharpens iron. It makes you a sharper makeup artist. Right. So it started in that way, and then it grew to passion, especially as it pertained to Skin the Masterclass, because everybody does their work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And for me, education was part of that because I was able to empower artists to understand the theory behind how to do skin, because it's not only just about what you see, it's about what you understand of literally how color works, about how skin works, like how doing a perfect cohesive match on a very fair person is not necessarily the same approach that I would on a person of your skin tone or even a person that's Sudanese or Senegalese. Right. And I found that there was a real lack in education in that space. Like, people were not talking about it from a theoretical standpoint in that way. Right. And coming from a tech background, I was like, we need systems and theoretical education. And so that's where the passion really started rising, because it was like, no, this is important, impactful work, because it was in the class, it was like it felt like a ministry. I'm not even going to hold you, and I'm not speaking in hyperbole, because you could see how it transformed how these artists looked at what they could do. And that impactful work helps to alleviate the trauma that talent experiences when people don't know how to do their skin. Absolutely. And then that passion even increased when I started talking about beauty theory, which is beauty at the intersection of culture, religion, politics, self-expression, and identity. So it's like a continuation of that work.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. And I think that when, we say that not everyone is an educator, that doesn't mean that you cannot learn to be an educator, right?
100%.
Like for myself, when I first taught my first class, I was kind of like thrown into education, where I was working in a salon, and they were like, we're launching a product line. We need an educator. You're always showing people how to do hairstyles. You be the educator. And I taught my first class, and my stomach was in knots, and my head was felt like it was about to explode. I had such stage fright, but then I worked at it. I took public speaking classes. I trained myself on how to be a good educator. I watched myself back in videos and saw where I had gaps and where I wasn't resonating, where I wasn't, using my full voice. You can train yourself to be good. So if you are interested in being in education, just because you're not naturally good at it doesn't mean it's not for you, right?
Yeah, 10,000% even, because literally people go to school to become educators.
Right.
Like you get a master's, PhD, bachelor's in education because there is literally a school of thought, a scientific study on how people learn. There's different learning styles. This is really, when I was at Makeup Forever, we had to become licensed educators in the state of New York. So I actually went to school.
Oh, Makeup Forever wasn't playing.
No, they were not playing. I got my license to be a makeup teacher in New York State.
Wow.
And so you learn about the different learning styles, how to deliver information so that how different people receive it, whether it's visual, audio, actually physically doing the work, how to do assessments for the different learning types. It is 100% a learned skill. Definitely some people come out the womb being able to sing, and some people got to go to a voice teacher.
Right.
There's something to be said about natural talent and then technical skill, and this is absolutely a learned skill.
And that's the thing. You just need to know that there's a skill there.
Yes. You have to acknowledge that there's a skill, and then you have to be intentional with strengthening it. So even with me having a natural acumen for being able to teach people, I still have had education and instruction and training as a teacher.
We are in an industry where you're not just an industry, we're on social media. You're always constantly seeing what everyone else is doing. Sometimes people find it hard not to compare. How do you, for yourself, keep your head down and focus on your own work without having to compare yourself to what your peers are doing or people that, quote unquote, came up at the same time as you, so that you don't get discouraged?
One, I close that phone.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I close that phone. I will also mute people. I'm a human.
Tell me about that.
And sometimes I do feel my feelings. I've navigated a lot in the probably past 9 years with my physical and mental health. A lot of mental health issues because of things that I was navigating, very serious issues with my physical health and chronically. And it's caused me a loss of time and opportunity, and so sometimes I'll reflect on things and feel like I'm not where I could be because of what I've been dealing with. And you look at your peers and your friends who are at a different place, and it can be difficult. And when I feel, and it's very natural to feel envious, to compare yourself. This is human emotion, and it's not something to be embarrassed about, but it's something to acknowledge and deal with and face. And so for me, sometimes it's I'm feeling the type of way, I need to mute this person because you need to be, because the answer isn't in continuing to compare and consume whatever that person's sharing.
Right.
Is you need to be working on yourself, because when you're focused on self and proud of what you're creating, you don't have the time and energy to be worried about what anybody else is doing.
Right.
And
that's very real. Like we can feel away, and that's okay.
It's absolutely natural.
Yeah.
Like it is absolutely natural. Anger, joy, envy, jealousy, all of those things are natural.
Yeah.
And we were never meant to consume as much of
what
other people are doing. Like at all. We were never supposed to be this privy to other people's lives.
Like every step of your career.
Every step. You know, somebody, you know what they're eating for lunch.
Right.
You know where they're traveling next. And we have to also remember it's a highlight reel, and I don't want to say take solace in like, oh, they're suffering behind the scenes, but everybody is navigating something, and you are sitting here just consuming this person's like wins and beating yourself up, and it's, you have to not consume that and do whatever work can put you in a place to feel pride and excitement and contentment in what you're doing, so that you don't have to be focusing on comparing yourself. So I just am very intentional about mitigating those things. I will mute somebody in the blink of an eye.
I love that. That's so real. And like you said, highlight reel is true because people will be like, oh my God, you're so busy. Like, where do you find the time? And it's like, what you see on my Instagram is not my full life, right? I'm posting work, or I'm posting like me being a mom.
Oh my gosh.
But there are other things happening between that.
100%.
There's me couch rotting. There's all the things.
Now people always will be like, oh, I didn't call you because I know you're just so busy. And I'm like, do you know 2025 has been my slowest year since I've been doing makeup?
Right.
This is when I had the most time. You should have called me.
Yes.
Like, and that's the truth for so many people, but we're not saying that out loud because these social media platforms make you feel like you can't be honest about that, and people feel embarrassed, and it's happening in, you know, private and solace. But I mean, the amount of people I've talked to who've been like, oh my God, this has been my best year yet, have been like one or two. Yeah. Everybody else is like, slowest year I've ever had, slow year, this has been crazy, I haven't been working. But like, you see the highlight reel and it's like, oh my God, everybody's winning. And it's like, y'all, we're in a recession. Like,
It's an edit.
Yeah, it's an edit.
This is interesting because I feel like maybe all of us have been there. Has there been a moment in your career where you thought of pivoting and being like, forget this, I can't do this anymore?
Earlier this year.
You're like recently?
I mean, I'm not even gonna hold you. 2024, 2025 have not been years that I've been super excited about what I've been doing. Wholly. Like, there have definitely been some really high points, but I've been like, I don't know if I love this as much anymore. If the passion is still there. I think about longevity, like the manual labor of it all. Do I want to continue to put my body through this?
When you say the manual labor of it all, I don't think people realize how much your body is involved in hair, makeup, wardrobe, nails.
Like, it is exhausting.
Yeah.
And not just like showing up to the work, the prep for it, the pack. I packed a suitcase more in my life than some people ever do in their whole lifetime.
Absolutely. That is.
In a lifetime,
right.
You would not have. Like, in a week, I might do more than some have done in their whole life. So, you know, the sloughing of the bags, like, you know, and you could have assistants and everything. Maybe you're going to have to roll or carry that bag at some point. For sure,
yeah.
You know, the standing up for hours, the running back and forth on set, the moving quickly, the physical tension in your body just from being in high-paced environments.
Right.
You know, of them, like the timeline. You only have 10 minutes to do this now. We need to. All of those things, the body keeps score. It is a lot.
And the kind of like hovering over the client.
Over the client.
My back hurts just thinking about it.
The constant moving, all of those things. It's very hard on the body. And, you know, when you're a person who's also navigating physical health issues, you have to think about how long you can maintain those things. So in a time where the industry has slowed down, I definitely have been reflecting on those things more and thinking about how can I use all these years of experience to do what next. And also, I mean, I still love doing makeup, so it's like I don't want to abandon something that I enjoy doing because it is a job, but for me, it is also just one of my artistic mediums. Like I just happen to use humans as a canvas, and it's ephemeral, but I would miss it if I didn't do it. So, you know, I definitely have been thinking a lot about what the next 15 years looks like.
Right. Well, I personally have shared about like my PCOS and endometriosis playing like a huge role in challenges I've had in my career and just being able to navigate my career in general. I think, you know, we talk about us creatives not having like health insurance, not having great health insurance, not having great hours. Like we have such like a rigorous lifestyle. People see the glam and, you know, all of the beautiful stuff that we do and think that we're living a life, but sometimes we are, but there's a lot of sacrifice that comes to that. Things that you have to like tuck away. Have you had to like push through any personal challenges for your career?
Unfortunately, I have, and I say to anybody, if it has to do with your health, girl, put the health first. Girl, boy, they, them.
But people, they're thinking about the bills. They're like, girl, I got the bills.
You can't pay a bill if you did, or if you're hospitalized.
That's true.
You cannot. And I actually was faced with that situation where I was hospitalized for like a month, 30 days.
For what?
And it was endometriosis related. I have stage 4 endometriosis. I had a situation where I was on my way to a makeup job. I should have listened to my body, and my lung collapsed on a plane.
On a plane?
And I literally almost died. And it was a very traumatic experience. Like, I was literally just looking at my scars like 2 days ago. It was a very, like, when you talk about like an ER episode in the trauma center, people yelling, me passing in and out of consciousness. Yes. I'm thinking about it now and I'm like, I can't even believe I lived that.
So when you made that decision to still, like you said, you didn't listen to your body, like, what should one be thinking about when we have to make that decision? 'Cause I've been in that place too, where you're like, I can't not show up to this gig. Like, you know, they're waiting for me to arrive. They don't have anyone as a backup. Like, I am the hairstylist on set and I'm about to call and say I'm headed to the hospital or I can't come in. Or maybe you don't even want to tell them that you are having any health issues because, and that happens too, where people don't want people to look at them as sickly and, you know, they probably won't call me again because they're going to think I'm not reliable, etc. What should you think about in that time where you have to make that decision?
I want to say people have to keep it real, but I need everybody to slow down and listen when I say keep it real. I don't mean that like in the flippant, keep it real. I mean, keep it real in like life or death real. First of all, keep in mind, all of this is made up. The idea of our industry, this shoot or whatever project you're working on, it's literally probably to sell something for just an item that like, at the core of human existence truly does not matter in the wide range of things. Right. So when I think of like what you need to think of, what matters to you more, pleasing these people or continuing to live?
Right.
Literally, for me, it was a choice between that because it was truly life or death. And sometimes it may not be that for you, but I'm going to push it as seriously as possible. I can't miss this shoot. So if you show up and you die on the shoot, do you think they will replace you and continue to shoot?
Right. What now?
There's still the capitalism is going to keep that hamster wheel going. They're going to find another artist and they're going to replace you.
Right. We so often, especially if you're just coming up, you're thinking about, oh, I just got this shot. Like, what if it never happens again?
If you can create that shot, you can create another one.
Yeah.
And there's no one singular person in this industry that has the power to completely blackball you from anything.
Right.
They might be able to blackball you from some stuff.
Right.
But absolutely everything, no. You need your life. You need your limb. You need your eyesight. You need your mobility.
And maybe you're just not meant to be there in that moment.
And you cannot sacrifice your well-being for an opportunity. It will never be worth it in exchange. Right. I think we feel so secure and confident in the possibility that we will be well, that we will be here tomorrow, that we could never consider the worst scenario.
Right.
You've pushed through successfully before, so it's going to be fine. Naima, I've literally had violent food poisoning and was laying on the floor at a trade show directing my team of how to set up the booth. Do you know how unhinged and deranged that is?
And I feel like that's common.
It's very common. And prior to this season, this time, I used to tell that story with pride.
I was at a shoot and I had gallbladder issues. And I knew at one point I had to have my gallbladder removed.
But you were like, I just got to get to the end of this shoot.
I'm like, I've been through many shoots before.
Yeah.
Like, what's one more painful shoot gonna do? But like halfway through that shoot, like I'm like, I think I'm about to pass out. Like I need to get in a car and go.
I was pushing through shoots and I didn't know at that time that my lung was collapsing on set.
That's insane.
Like, no.
Not the collapsed lung on set.
I did not play with that at all. Like, if you're sick, go home. Don't come. I'm not doing that. Do not come. I'm not showing up. I'm not, like, I'm sick. I'm not coming.
Right.
I'm so sorry. My health matters more than anything you all are doing here.
Right. And then we know people, like, we know what I have to pay the bills and, you know, like my rent and all of that. And I think when people hear artists like us on our level say something like that, and they're like, well, it's easy for you to say.
Do you need a home if you're dead?
That part.
You worried about paying the bills, and it's like, baby, if you're dead, there's not...
That doesn't matter, yeah.
It does not matter. Like, and I'm not trying to be philosophical or like woo-woo or whatever, but it's literally all of this is made up. Yes, a bill is important. But if you're dead, you can't even pay the bill anyway. What are you talking about? Right. So you have to survive first. So you have to think of survival before anything else. Your credit may be messed up after that. You'll fix the credit, but you'll still be alive to fix it.
Right. And I promise you, like, it might feel like your one and only shot, but it's not. If you are who you are, it's not.
It's not. Like, I'm really in a season of keeping it real. It felt like my career fell apart in the past 2 years, Naima. Like, the loss of DEI, like I was shooting a campaign maybe like every month, every 2 months, maybe 1 or 2 a year now. Like it's been crazy. Yeah. And there was a point that I was like, okay, maybe my season's just finished. And I had to really be like, bitch, are you crazy? Of course your season isn't finished. Yeah. Like, you really do well. Like, maybe that season and that chapter, those relationships are done. And then I had to even reflect how happy were you in some of those scenarios. Right. And maybe I wasn't. But it's really allowed me to push into other spaces that feel even more aligned. Right. So, you know, I'm talking about that and that extremism, but when you're coming up and you're worried about one loss of opportunity, baby, if you were good enough to get that one, I promise you're good enough to get more, and you're just going to continue to get better. Right.
I think that a lot of us in freelance deal with this, where it's really hard to show up for relationships in a freelance career where your friends or family members have like the standard 9 to 5 and a very structured schedule, and hours are all over the place. How have you navigated that with your career?
I'm not doing good with that one. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not doing my best. I try, and I'm trying to be more intentional, but I haven't been the best at that. Like I've had my nose down and just focused on working for so long. Yeah. That like I lost a little part of my identity, like outside of work, and that includes like my relationships. It's
Do you think the career that we have requires that? Like that is a sacrifice?
I think in part it does, depending upon where you want to be. And that was a realization that came to me like in like 2024, is that that's not a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. And you know, sitting with some of the people that are in the upper echelons of like this industry too, and working with them sometimes and talking, they'll say, they'll talk about how they're willing to sacrifice, that they don't care about work-life balance.
Right.
Like, this doesn't matter to them. They'll talk about how hard it is to date because it's this, it's that. And I'm like, ew, I don't want to do, like, that does not seem thrilling or fulfilling at all. Like, I have to find balance. Then maybe I can't be the biggest and baddest in the game because that seems miserable.
Right.
Like, are your tear sheets going to be with you at the end of life to hold your hand?
You can't throw it all away.
You can't throw it all away. I think you have to find the balance, but I think it also depends on what is most important to people. And
people understanding your life and your career, too.
Yeah, because I think you can find kindred spirits in that way. Yeah. I mean, look at you and your husband. Like, you guys are both hard workers, entrepreneurs, and you happen to work in industries that synergize together. And then I think even if someone was in a situation where there wasn't necessarily that synergy, there's the intentionality about loving and being present with a partner so much that you're willing to give that understanding grace and to navigate those spaces with them. But then some people just are completely ready and willing to abandon it and just be like, this is all that's most important. I don't care about work-life balance. But it's like, baby, I don't care about getting the look together for this runway show more than I care about going home to my family.
Right.
I'm so sorry. I don't.
Right. Yeah, it's so important. Like they say, there's no real balance in everything, but you have to choose the things that you can, quote unquote, throw away or not, show up for, and those things that are just like a non-negotiable. Yeah. And vice versa. I think it's important for your family and friends to recognize that on the career end, there are going to be those things that you have to show up for. Like, I've literally worked up to this moment. Like, I might not make it to the baby shower. Yeah,
and I think that's where the grace that, comes from somebody loving and respecting you, following your dreams comes from.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to work on being more intentional about showing up and being present.
Yeah. You feel like there is, you've been in the industry for a long time. Do you feel like there is community, or you've found community in the beauty space?
I'm slowly finding community that I really believe in, that I really feel safe in, and that feels trusted. I absolutely have community before, but then there's other parts where I thought it was community, but it's a performance of community, unfortunately. And I don't say that necessarily in a negative way. It's just kind of how our industry works. So
if you're coming into the industry, you're building, what red flags should you be looking out for when you're trying to build community, or what should your intentions be?
I mean, building community, I think, is really like dating. To be, you have to look at people's actions more than what they're saying. People talk a really good game, but what are people really doing? How do they treat others? How are they showing up? Like, how authentic is the work that they're really doing for community? Right. And
is this a transactional thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Or are we genuinely connecting?
Are people really servant leaders? Or do they just... I saw somebody post something about...
Servant leader. I like that.
Yeah, that's... I saw somebody post something about people become founders as a way to become the new it girls.
Yes, I saw that.
And that's exactly what it is. It's like... being in community is the new way to be an it girl.
That's especially crazy work.
If you're dropping those buzzwords,
right?
Yeah,
because you'll see people have this like public face, but the industry is small and it talks, and you'll hear the complete opposite about their character.
Exactly.
So that's definitely something that I tell my mentees to, be on the lookout for. That not all places are safe spaces, even though you share the same kind of job and you're doing the same things. Like, don't get too cozy too quickly. Right. Oh, tell us about your makeup guide.
So the makeup guide is the first in like a series of educational guides that I'll be releasing. There's going to be a huge pack coming in November, right around Black Friday. But is essentially a baseline framework of like how to build a makeup kit. I think at a time where we're so inundated with so much information about what's good, what's not, we sometimes just got to get back to the basics. Like, if you are trying to become a makeup artist, you're trying to build a kit, you want it to be inclusive, these are the basics of what you need to have. And whatever else you want to build from there is great, but like at a baseline, you must have these things to be completely inclusive and to be able to do timeless beauty in every setting.
So this would be for someone who's working in fashion and beauty, like, red carpet. What
Yes,
is it for?
It's anybody that's doing beauty makeup. So beauty makeup in any space, whether it's bridal, fashion, red carpet, runway, that would be inclusive. Now, if you're going more into an editorial space, that's a little different. But this is all about being able to do timeless beauty in any space.
When you say the editorial space, that'll be a little bit different. Can you tell us I think oftentimes people don't recognize that editorial and like doing someone's makeup for like an everyday event, how they can be so different. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the first thing we have to consider is that language progressively changes. So editorial, as it first began, was like something that was shot to be in a publication. But now editorial really means something that is more centered on storytelling. And it doesn't have to exist in a publication. It could just be kind of the style or approach to creating this visual imagery.
Right.
And so editorial can be a lot of things. It can be simple. It can be avant-garde. It can be over the top, but it's not makeup for longevity or to exist in the world. It's makeup to storytell.
I like that. That's a great definition.
Yeah.
You have been such a core part of Texture on Set. You've taught the historical references segment, which is the highly coveted segment. People are obsessed with you and how you teach that segment and what you bring to it. You have helped to elevate what I had in mind for Texture on Set. Tell me about, your thoughts on Texture on Set and why you do what you do in the historical references segment.
Well, first of all, Texture on Set is such a special thing. Like, it's very, very special. You can just tell Texture on Set is something that is really like your heart song. Like, this is something you deeply believe in and work that you feel that you need to do. When I talked about everybody has to do their part in D&I, this is like your manifestation of how you know that what you know and what others know can be impactful and change. So it's like you're reaching out and touching all these people and they're reaching out now and touching others. So it's like the impact is so far beyond what is even just in that space. And I think it's even an inspiration to the people that you bring on the stages to speak, like myself included with the historical references segment. It's so crazy to even think where I am now, where people will joke and call me Professor Wariebi because
I love it.
First of all, I'm like, that's my mom, y'all. It's so funny because I remember being scared to even start talking about history and beauty at the intersection of politics, culture on Instagram. And I was like, nobody wants to hear about this nerdy stuff, girl. Like, this is only you thinking about this. You were one of the first people to be like, keep talking about this, because what is this? And then, gave me a platform to share that. I don't know if you know I'm a crybaby, so
me too.
I'm trying to reel it back. I don't think you even understand the impact, and sometimes when you're in it, you can't see it at that time. But that was an affirmation and a major validation for me. You are someone that I have so much respect for. I know that you don't do anything at a low caliber. It's like you strive for excellence. So you recognizing the value in what I have to offer, wanting it to be part of something I know is so near and dear to you, I was like, okay. Because when something comes to you almost naturally, you're like, it doesn't feel like you can be of value to others. You were hiding the goods
in your stories.
Yes, and you kept on being like, girl, why are you hiding this in here? And so even giving me that platform was such an affirmation and validation of the work that I did. And then it allowed me to share with other people. Naima, I swear to you, still, like, when I'm feeling unsure about things, I'll be like, girl, you were at Texture on Set. Yeah. You were on that stage. people like Tabitha Coffey coming to me afterwards. I grew up watching this woman in my apartment.
Right.
In my apartment at home. Like, so it just is like this little immigrant war refugee who has been so unsure of herself in these spaces, who has had so many difficult situations where people will say, I want to do this for you, I want to platform you, I want to help you, and they don't, and they take from you instead. But somebody really giving you something like this has opened it up. Like, you have no idea. Like, this has made me look into furthering my education, literally considering getting a PhD.
Period. I love
beauty
that.
and aesthetics, like, to talk about the anthropological perspective of identity as it pertains to Black beauty.
Yes.
Like, it just has major impact. And that's just me. That is just me. What about everybody else? Like, those people that are in those spaces receiving that information, it's exponential impact that you won't even be able to tangibly see. There's no way to quantify or qualify it. You're just going to be hearing people say, oh, well, I went to Texture on Set. I went to this hair show this time. It completely shifted what I did. Like, I literally, an editorial I just shot that is getting so much love is a direct result of Texture on Set. I bet you didn't even know that.
I did not know that.
A hairstylist that was there, who is Liberian from where I'm from, she had never met me. She met me there at Texture on Set. She was like, I cannot believe you're Liberian.
Wow.
What I shared there and what she learned, she produced her own photo shoot about Liberian Sunday society. You liked this. You didn't even know you liked the set of photos.
I liked the set of photos, but I didn't know the story behind it.
It was directly from Texture on Set. Came up with this whole inspiration. She started doing personal storytelling based on this historic thing. The historic references segment learned so much from Texture on Set about being a hairstylist, refining for editorial, whatnot. Put that all together. We shot with JD.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for saying that. And that further affirms for me that what I was thinking about when I was ideating Texture on Set, that it can't just be a hands and hair thing. When you got on that stage and started talking, like, I could have just, like, I just fell on the floor.
Thank you.
You really just brought it all home. And tell me about, like, what you think this kind of information, this kind of education does to just the idea of, like, storytelling or Texture on Set, or just, like, moving the needle forward.
Because it creates a paradigm shift. And that is I've referenced several times in this conversation, we have to show our people how to cross over. We exist and we are creating in a society that is not necessarily reflective of our beauty standards and our storytelling. And so we have to storytell in a context sometimes that doesn't necessarily feel like ours. So how do we translate what we do into other spaces that it can fit in those contexts? And it can be in publications and amplified in these different spaces, on the red carpet, on these photo shoots, all of these different things. And I think that's what it does. It empowers people to, one, have the technical knowledge of knowing what to do, but then their mindset has shifted completely. I don't think we talk enough in education about, it's not always about the technical skill. It's about how you think. It's literally about how you see, how you consider, how you perceive. I touch on taste a little bit in the historical references segment. And it's not to tell people that you don't have taste. Taste is a learned skill too.
Absolutely.
Nobody comes out of the gate just being, and it is also a collective agreement on what is tasteful.
And a training of the eye.
And so in that training of the eye, we have all collectively agreed, this is good, this is bad. And so you have to then learn, what are we all in collective agreement about?
Right.
And you have to have that paradigm shift to even understand that is a thing.
Right. And also to understand, if you're looking to shift from what we're all in agreement about, you have to first identify what it is that we're all in agreement about.
Thank you. And I think that's what people don't. It's like, y'all, there's a philosophical and anthropological level to the vanities that people don't understand. Like, it is deeper
I just
than
love
just how it looks.
I love the intellectualism that you bring to the beauty space.
Needed. But because it is, and I think when you think of it as like this separate thing, then it is. But like, even at this time right now, like, y'all, you may not be able to get on the thing and talk about all these things because you're a little scared, but you can create something that makes a statement. What do you have to say about what's happening right now?
Right. Yeah, it's not always, there are different ways to show up, different ways to advocate.
Exactly.
It's not always boots on the ground marching. There are other ways to take a stance.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for the creatives who are coming up, are looking to build a career that has longevity to it, I think oftentimes people are thinking of like the right now, the financial, just being able to make it to that point. But for someone who has made it to a certain level of success, how do you keep that?
I think it's multifaceted. One, you have to continuously be sharpening your skills. Don't get comfortable and do not get complacent. And I think that's especially important now with so much innovation happening in beauty and how things are changing so rapidly. Because before it was like, oh, I use my same thing. That's just what I've been using. There's too much innovation happening in the beauty space for you not to stay curious.
Outside of your artistry, do you think there's anything like character-wise?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Be kind. Baby, leave the ego at home.
But do you really have to be kind? Because I feel like I've met a lot of mean people that are making it, and I'm like, how'd you get here?
It depends on who you are. Some people can be mean and get away with it, and some people cannot be mean.
Right.
And I'm gonna just say it flat out: if you're a Black woman, be nice.
Right.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Overly nice.
P's and Q's.
P's and Q's. I'm not even gonna hold you. I definitely know that my directness has ended some of my working relationships, and it wasn't even that I was being mean.
Right. You're offering perspective and information.
I just am very who I am, but I even have to learn that sometimes I got to put a little syrup on it because they're taking my directness as being an aggressive Black woman. Like, it just is what it is. And the standards are absolutely different depending on who the character is. So keep that in mind.
Right.
And then I would say clienteling. Especially if you were in retail and worked at a counter ever, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
You, as an entrepreneur, you have to clientele. You have to maintain those relationships. You don't just leave the shoot and then that's it and you never speak to these people again until you get your invoice. Like, these are humans. Well, build relationships, chat with people, all of that.
The hairstylists who work in like suites and even makeup artists work, they get a lot of flack for not being super professional and being like too like harsh in their delivery when in like interacting with clients. Nasty. Right? I think that there's a little bit of that to say when you work on set too, like right?
100%. Like, nobody wants to deal with anybody with a nasty attitude.
Right.
Nobody wants to deal with anybody with a nasty attitude. I've encountered those type of hairstylists, makeup artists, nail people. I read first of all, you got a whole page of rules. What is this?
Right.
This is crazy. And if your tone sounds a little too aggressive, I'm not even coming because you're a service provider and I don't need all that intensity. Right. And you're working in the vanities, hair, makeup, whatever. That is like your kind of the last bastion of who they're dealing with before they have to show up as talent. Nobody wants to deal with a piss poor attitude. If anything, you should be like helping them to feel their best. And sometimes that means that you have to be an actor.
Right. Right.
You just may not be in the mood. It's not even about you because you're there to render a service. And I think that's what some people miss. Like, now a lot of people feel like, being in the vanities or being part of Glam, it's like you're kind of a star too, and you're not. Not in that setting.
Twisted, right?
Not in that setting. In some settings, you are the star, but like not here. So you have to humble yourself, be kind, keep it positive. And it's, I mean, you're a human, so I understand there's a range of emotions. Like, I had a situation on set the other day where I got very emotional. And, you know, I'm human. It is what I gave myself grace, but I have enough of a reputation of being a perpetually positive person, a consummate professional.
Yeah.
That, you know, I was given grace.
Right. It's a lot of emotions when it comes to
it is a lot of emotion.
We're in the people business.
Yes, and especially if you're an emotional person,
right,
it can be very difficult. And mind you, we're all creative, so you're going to encounter some people that are emotional too, in the opposite direction,
right,
like very negatively emotional.
Right. When you look at your journey, like all of it, what is the moment that you're most proud about? Like, what is, or maybe not just a moment, what is it about your journey and your career that you are most proud about as an artist and just as like a woman, as a person?
I would say it's two-part. That I've been able to create art that's going to be looked at for years. You know, having the opportunity to work with musicians who, Beyonce, like literally people are going to look at her videos and my work is going to be in there.
I love your work on Beyonce. That looks so good.
And that was like the exact type of work that I want to continue to do. So it was just, it's like it will always be a lifetime affirmation that the work that resonates with me most was done on one of the greatest artists of our time. Like,
I love that.
No matter whatever happens in this. And it was when she was telling stories about Africa, this little African war refugee child got to paint one of the greatest artists. That, like, nobody could ever take that from me.
Tell me about that. When did you get that phone call, email? How did you feel?
That was so crazy. I was literally getting ready to go on a date with somebody I just met. And like clothes on, face beat, and I get a call and they're like, oh, we got your information to do, you know, this project for this artist. And they sent me the references and they were like, can you do like a test paint? And I was like, well, I'm on my way out. And they were like, oh, it's fine. You can send it tomorrow. Something in my spirit was like, they said they couldn't tell me who it was.
Right.
And I was like, that's somebody really big.
You know, that NDA be NDA.
Because when they can't tell you who it is.
Right.
And so I was like, no, I'm going to call him and tell him he has picked me up in like 2-3 hours. I have to do this before I go and send it.
And see, that's what I would mean by like moments where it's like, I got to lock in. Like, yeah, I have.
And I didn't know that, man. That was the first day.
Right.
So, baby, this was a test for you too. Like, because you got to be down with the down,
right,
get down with the get down. So I do the test paint. I send it over. I send it out, and he comes picks me up. We go on a date. And I remember I was in the car with him. We were about to go inside to like hang out with some of his friends and family. And first of all, why was I doing that on the first day? But anyway, I got the call then, and they were like, we loved what you did. We want you to come in. And then they told me at that time it was for Beyonce.
Oh my God.
Hey, Naima. I started, the way I started weeping, like for my ancestors, for everything in that car, the man was like, is everything okay? I mean, like, like weeping, hyperventilating. I remember literally like laying my chest on my legs in the car, like trying to catch my breath, weeping.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, I just got a job of a lifetime. And he's like, who is it? And I was like, I can't tell you.
Right.
He said, what do you mean you can't tell me? I said, I can't tell you. I cannot tell you.
Oh my gosh.
And that was it. And like literally a couple of days later, I was there painting her. And it was so crazy because I was not like as even as together an artist. I didn't even have like I had a kit bag, but like now how I have a system. I had just, at that time, I had actually really just started freelancing by myself for the first time.
And that's the thing, like, this career is often not as linear as people think it is.
It's not at all. It's not linear. It's not circuitous. It's a squiggle, crazy ass line with some skips in it.
It could take you from the back of the line to the front of the line in a matter of 24 hours.
And then back to the back of the line again. Out of the line, outside the club. Yeah, that was just crazy because I remember like I had like all these bags, like I didn't have everything together.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't have the confidence. It was very just crazy.
Right.
It was very, very crazy.
And you just have to meet the moment.
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I've actually been reflecting on that time a lot recently because that situation came to fruition because in that season I had just been doing my own thing. I didn't care about what nobody else was doing. And that's because I had literally almost died just like 3 years before. It was right. Like, and so I had just decided to, I was just like starting to transition and leave Makeup Forever because I'd been teaching there for like 2.5, almost 3 years. And my freelance career was starting to grow because right before I started a Makeup Forever is right before I left Danessa.
Wow.
So I literally had not even really existed as a freelancer, as a makeup artist until right before the pandemic.
That call must have been so affirming.
Unreal. Because it was like, I literally haven't even been like a independent freelancer yet, for real. Like I'm still
I haven't
working.
even seen anything yet.
No, nothing at all. I've been working with Danessa until literally 2015, 2016.
Wow.
2016, I was working as a freelancer maybe 6 months. Had my major health scare, started working with Makeup Forever, was working with them for like 3 years until 2019. Painted her then, started working as a freelancer, pandemic.
Wow.
So like literally when I tell people I haven't even been working as a freelancer like fully for 10 years.
That's
not
crazy.
even 5 years really.
That's crazy.
Barely, like maybe 6.
The portfolio says otherwise.
Yeah, I've had a long makeup career, but like as a complete freelancer, like not attached to a brand or something, not even 10 years.
Right. Wow.
Which is crazy to say out loud.
Well, that's also impressive.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful to sit down and talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
You're one of one. I'm just grateful to know you, grateful to be in community with you. Same. I appreciate you. Thank you for being on Guts and Glam.
Thank you. I'm so excited to see this grow. I just think you're awesome, Naima. In Liberia, like we'll say, if I carry you on my back, I will carry you.
Oh.
That's that means like, I appreciate the things that you've done for me. I see you. And that's a term that comes from, it really comes from the war, which is kind of sad. Like when people like had to walk out of Liberia and they couldn't walk, people would literally carry people on their back.
Wow.
So I would carry you on my back.
It's an honor. Thank you. Love you.
Yes, love you too.
That was great.
This was so good. You're such a good interviewer.